So just when you thought humanity couldn't get any stupider, once again, they prove you wrong. So, as it tends to be the case with these, videos about the Jews, there's always a bunch of idiots getting triggered. Some of them still comment. So, when I asked if, maybe they could define what Jew means, obviously, the context being that, if we're going to uncover this great conspiracy, i.e., Jews rule the world, I guess the Pope sitting in the Vatican must be Jewish too. Give us some clues as to how to identify this conspiracy, how to, help us out. How did you come to know this great wisdom, right? So according to this person, a modern Semite, or in modern terms, a Jew. Okay, so a Jew is a Semite? But I thought Muslims were Semites too. Okay. Is among other, but most importantly, what? Descended from a descendant or descended? You don't even speak English, and you're from Great Britain. Imagine that. Descended from the ancient creature we call the Neanderthal, right? White people are descendants from the Cro-Magnon. I mean, what can you say to these people, right? Like, even if this is somehow true, where did you get this from? You're just saying shit, right? Nobody believes this except some whacked out Reddit incels, right? Or wherever the hell you trolls come from. Anyway, don't bother commenting if this is you or you're like that. You go to these people's channels and, what do you see? Video games, right? They spend their lives playing video games. Sad as it is, there you have it. Jews are Neanderthals. Thanks. That doesn't, even if it's true, in no way, shape, or form does this help us, right? To become wise to this great conspiracy that, they still maintain exists. It's just, these fuckers are sad. But that's not what this video is about, right? This video is about how Russian sanctions are affecting Ecuador, right? And, if they haven't yet, or if you haven't felt the effects yet, chances are they are affecting you too. So right off the bat, I said that this whole idea of sanctions is a complete and utter joke, right? And question, if you go out there and maybe listen to some of the experts, economists, right, talking about these sanctions, analyzing all that stuff, do any of them, or how many of them, if any, talk about the economic forum, right? It would make sense to maybe, seeing as we're talking about the economy and all these major players involved in this current conflict frequent the World Economic Forum, where they decide various economic measures, right? Plays, moves on the grand chessboard for this global economy, right? Shouldn't that be talked about a lot? This is what they decided there, or at the very least mention the World Economic Forum in passing, right? Is that happening? I mean, I don't listen to these people, man, because 95% of this shit is probably bullshit, right? But I would venture a guess that they're not at all talking about Klaus Schwab or the World Economic Forum, for fear that the sheep, and in many cases because they themselves are that, for fear that, some of the sheep might woke up and put two and two together. So that's A. And B, when the sanctions were announced, what was my first reaction, right? We're going to get fucked. This is going to fuck all of us, right? Because this, like how, and all the people on the internet, all the peons, just cheering this move and saying, "Yay, get Russia!" Right? Like, talk about shooting yourself in the foot, right? Talk about being a useful idiot and just literally fucking yourself. Question: have these sanctions, have they stopped Putin? Because everything that I've seen since the sanctions has been, looks like an escalation to me. So I'm not saying they had the opposite effect, but they definitely did not stop them, did they? Well, just give it time, you say? Okay, but like this whole idea that sanctions are somehow going to stop Putin or work in any way, shape, or form they tell you that they will, like, and even if they had the power to help, right? You're telling me someone like Putin didn't prepare for this? Didn't make deals with other people, other countries that are friendly to him to pick up the slack where you might potentially hurt him, right? For starters. And then, like, all the sheep, like, can they just stop for a second and think and ask yourself this question? Why is the West, if you will, or whomever, why are they doing business with Russia? Are they just being nice guys to Putin? Is it because it benefits Putin and Putin only? Is that why they're doing business with Russia? Or is it because it benefits them too? Right? So right off the bat, you knew that these so-called sanctions were going to hurt both sides because both sides are doing business because it's, fuck, like, this is so simple. Because it's beneficial to both sides, right? Shout out to all the capitalists out there who, you know, capitalist ideologues, obviously, right? People who don't own any capital, really, let's be honest. Don't even own a business. Shout out to all of you guys. Good going. So, yeah, you're just fucking yourself. And you're going to feel these sanctions sooner or later. And a lot of people out there won't even realize that this is what they were pushing for. They're going to complain about prices of this or that going up or not being able to purchase this or that, right? Not realizing that, wait, you supported this, idiot. So, concrete example, right? As I find out, Ecuador, 80% of Ecuador's bananas go, guess where? Fucking Russia, right? And yet here you have Ecuador and its leaders supporting these sanctions. Like, do you really want to starve your own people? Well, apparently, obviously, right? You want to impoverish your own people even more. Make them more dependent on whatever. I've talked about this shit enough to where, you know, we know what's going on. So, and then what Ecuador gets from Russia is urea, however you say it, urea. Or in other words, nitrogen fertilizer, right? So now, yeah, it would be amazing if the whole world, not just Ecuador, could convert to organic fertilizer overnight, right? But that's impossible. Okay, you can't just go cold turkey and expect for there to be enough organic fertilizer all of a sudden out of nowhere to sustain the kind of corn production, for starters, that Ecuador has, right? Is something that Ecuador itself lives off, right? Because corn is a major crop that's fed to animals that obviously we all here eat, right? So if we can't get this fertilizer, we won't be able to grow as much corn, right? Which means we won't be able to grow and harvest as many animals. There's going to be less milk and cheese and so on and so forth, right? Less humitas, or as they say in Chicago, tamales. Yeah, so like corn has already gone up. Maybe it should be at its, like, this year at this point in time, corn should be at its cheapest, right? Because this is the rainy season, people are harvesting corn. it should be at its cheapest. But corn right now, the price of corn right now is akin to or the same as in the dry season where it's most expensive. So I can't even imagine. Well, I guess I can. I could speculate, but it's definitely going to go up in price, right? And it's never going to come down. It's just going to keep going up in price. It was going to do that regardless because of, supply chain issues and, pandemic and all that other nonsense. But now with the war on top of that, I mean, that's just going to make things, well, even worse. Right? So there are going to be bananas rotting in the field, right? They're going to be dirt cheap and with not enough people to eat them. And there won't be enough corn to feed animals. And it would be great if we could just, convert pigs to eat nothing but bananas, but and chickens and cows, but that's just not something that's going to happen. Okay, so there you have it, right? For example, these Russia sanctions fucking over Ecuador, right? And you, wherever you live, it's going to have an effect on you too, right? So this is yet another example of how these wars are really wars on us people, because the big producers, right, the big companies, even if they're gonna feel the squeeze, right, they'll be able to survive, right? They'll get bailed out. Whatever the hell needs to happen is going to happen, or they'll just raise the price, right, of whatever it is that they are able to sell. They'll just double, triple, whatever they gotta do. That's what they'll do with the price, right? So they won't have to distribute as much. They won't have to work as hard. They won't have to produce as much. And they'll probably get the same kind of money with less input. So for a lot of them, it's going to work out probably anyway. But for the end user, you and I, we're getting fucked, right? So let's, I don't know, spend our fucking time sitting on the computer all day playing video games and talking about the evil Jew, right? Yeah, that makes sense. It's the Neanderthals' fault, seriously. Anyway, yeah, it's not looking good, guys. And to me, it looks like they want this to go on as long as they can have it. That's what it looks like to me. Well, what's Biden saying? Let's see what he has to say.
All right. Before I begin the cabinet meeting today, I want to give you an update on Ukraine. We continue to impose very severe economic sanctions.
The fuck is that noise?
On Putin and all those folks around him, choking off access to technology as well.
Right? All those folks around them. Just Russians, Ukrainians, Poles, everybody.
As well as cutting off access to the global financial system.
This is what I wanted to talk about. So, German Persian made an excellent comment. It made a lot of sense to me on one of them videos where I was talking about sanctions or something like that. He said something like, don't be surprised if Russia drops their, state cryptocurrency, right? Blockchain and all of that, right? Oh, what a perfect excuse to bring in, digital money, which will fuck all of us that much more, right? It's not Putin's fault, right? He couldn't. They took his money away. He had to, create his own money, which may or may not, I don't know, be an excuse for more conflict. Because if he does do that, I could see a whole bunch of nerds putting their money into that, and the ruble's value just going way to hell up, or whatever the hell they call it, right? Being, going up in price, and then Russia all of a sudden having all this money to buy more arms and train more soldiers, and yay!
Found impact already. And the goal was to maximize the impact on Putin and Russia and to minimize the harm on us and our allies and friends around the world. Our interest is in maintaining the strongest unified economic impact campaign that on food in all history, and I think we're well on the way to doing that. In the State of the Union address, I announced that the Department of Justice is going after the crimes of Russian oligarchs. The Attorney General spoke to that earlier, and who line their pockets with.
Now, I don't expect them to give all the details of all the sanctions in this little announcement or what have you, but he didn't really say anything, right? He did address the fact that these sanctions do work both ways, but don't worry, we got this covered. You won't feel the squeeze, right? Because he says so.
Russian people's money, and while Ukraine and the people are hiding in subways from missiles that are being fired indiscriminately in Russian cities. Today I'm announcing that
It's a bunch of fucking lies.
we're adding dozens of names to the list, including one of Russia's wealthiest billionaires, and I'm banning travel to America by more than 50 Russian oligarchs, their families, and their close associates. And we're going to continue to support Ukrainian people. And on Tuesday night at the Capitol, we saw America united in support of Ukraine and in our work to hold Putin accountable.
Okay, Biden, buy our bananas. Right? Isn't Ecuador and the States, aren't they buddy-buddy? I mean, I keep seeing all these ads. Little do you guys know, there's all these ad campaigns here in Ecuador, right? Move to the United States. Move to Canada. Immigrants welcome. Even during Trump's stay in office, we were getting bombarded with these ads. One day I'll take a snapshot or something. So how about it, Biden? Buy our bananas, buddy. Thanks for watching.